Hello, I'm Steve Anderson with Laser Focus World Magazine. I'm here today at Daylight Solutions in San Diego. We were visiting the Optics and Photonics event down in the downtown area and took the opportunity to come up a little bit north to Daylight that's just moved to a new facility. The company is growing very fast, and I'm standing next to the HR manager, Suzanne Krinsky, who is going to tell us a little bit about the company's growth and the fact that they're looking for some new employees. Suzanne, would you like to tell us a little bit about how much the company has grown over the last few years and where you expect it to go over the next few years?
Absolutely. I started back in September, and they brought me on specifically to double the company in size. And back then we had about 24 employees. And so it's been fast and furious. One of the things that we've had to do is put together a strategic hiring plan, and one of the things we did was go to Photonics West, which was actually a great success for us, so we'll keep that in mind for future events. Yes, yeah, we were able to hire several candidates from there, but since then, we just hit 49 employees, and as of last week, and so now we expect to double in size again, probably within the next 8 to 10 months as well, so we continue to grow. The growth is aggressive, and so we're looking for some highly technical, very good engineering candidates to come on board.
What types of skills do these engineering candidates need to have? Do they have to be familiar with photonic applications?
Not necessarily. Some of them do, and some of them don't. So it just kind of depends on the area. Like our electrical engineers, it's always helpful. But if they bring the right skill set to the table, it doesn't necessarily have to be in photonics, depending on the area. And we're really looking for mostly engineering types, but as we grow, we need to also hire support positions as well. So the positions can be, anywhere from the high-level engineering to the technician to the administrative side, or even on the IP side as well. So it's kind of soup to nuts.
Bit of everything.
A bit of everything, yes.
Okay. Now, I understand you recently held a job fair here at the company. Was that successful? We
did. We had it here 2 weeks ago. It was on a Thursday night, and it was one of those things where we had pre-registered about 100 candidates, and we had just over 125 actually show up, and the line was out the door and around the corner. It really surprised me with the positive response, but it brought in a lot of very good candidates. And it was very inspiring with the whole Daylight team. Everybody was here, even the CEO and the COO, and all levels were here talking to candidates all the way past 8 o'clock. And so it was very successful, and I think it showed our candidates, showed the public, what's going on, and the really nice and dynamic and unique environment that we have here. And the exciting people that work here as well. So I think it was a really good show.
Good. And what are your plans now for recruiting? Are you going to be at any other shows? You mentioned Photonics West, for example.
Yeah, that's something that we're looking into. I understand you didn't have one this time when you're in town, since you're in town. So. But yeah, we're going to be trying to align ourselves with the various conferences. There's a couple other conferences that are coming up, also after the beginning of the year as well. So it's kind of whatever makes sense. We're starting to align ourselves with the specific disciplines and making sure that we are visible and making a name for ourselves there.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
So we're here in the Daylight Solutions, one of the research labs. I'm here with Peter Berkey, and he's going to describe to us one of the systems that he's working on developing. Peter.
Hello. So this is one of our sensor products. It's called the swept sensor. And what it is, it's essentially a battery-operated portable spectrometer that you can use for analyzing, for example, air, or in the workplace environment, the air indoors. So it's a combination of EC QCL lasers with a gas cell and a detector, and it has the capability of either you can pass through an existing gas stream and analyze what's in there. Or there's also a little pump included, so we can suck in the air and analyze what's in the air, for example. And I'm the application scientist at Daylight Solutions, and I'm testing the instruments and developing applications for based on customer requests. So one of the equipments that I'm using for that on a regular basis is this gas mixing station. And this allows me to mix gases over a very wide concentration range from a few ppm up to percent ranges, and then introduce those into the sensor. The one in the back, that's the one that's currently being used. And then it's analyzing the gas mixture, providing concentrations in real time, and I can compare it to what I actually put in there, because I know what gas concentrations are in there. So, for example, one project that we have recently worked on is the analysis of breath alcohol. And breath alcohol, that's in the real-time environment, there are lots of other gases in there. For example, somebody is at a gas station, or there's a perfume, or somebody used mouthwash or whatever. So we need to be able to accurately measure the ethanol and distinguish it from everything else that's in this mix that's coming to the instrument. So that's an application where we have used this, and that's basically what is still standing here, the gas canisters that are there for ethanol and a number of interfering molecules.
Now we're talking to Director of Business Development here at Daylight Solutions, Eric Takeuchi. We're going to be looking at some of the work that Daylight is doing integrating systems. Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about what that work is and where you hope it will go?
Sure, thanks, Steve. So Daylight has been working on quantum-cascade laser technology for the past 5.5, 6 years. One of the significant opportunities we've seen recently is in the area of defense and homeland security. And applying some of the core technology building blocks we have with the QCLs into full system embodiments has really gained traction in the defense arena. And so what you see in the room here in our pilot manufacturing line is a number of different system embodiments of those lasers. So these systems are developed to operate over full military specifications for environment. We've seen a lot of interest coming from the aerospace community for flight qualification of these systems, which they have been recently. Multi-watt performance for applications such as infrared countermeasures, standoff detection, general illumination with thermal, midwave, and long-wave imaging cameras. So a lot of applications like that in the defense community.
Okay. And in some of these, what's the time to market? How long do you think it's going to go from what we see here in the lab to something in the field?
Well, it's really exciting now. We have been working now specifically on some of these defense applications for the past couple years. During that time, we've gone through the prototyping phase. A number of systems have been fully mill qualified now over environment. And so, the system and the technology itself is really ready to transition into production. I suspect probably over the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to start seeing Daylight's QCL technology really get into the field, into tactical applications.
Okay. Now, I understand that Daylight is, as part of this process, has formed a subsidiary, Daylight Defense.
Yes.
Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So Daylight Defense was formed as a wholly owned subsidiary of Daylight Solutions. The primary reason for that is, getting into defense contract business, coming from the commercial world, the defense business has its own set of requirements. Things like secret clearance and facility clearances, ITAR control as it relates to some of the defense articles that we're working on, contract requirements to support some of the government DoD contracting requirements have been really important. So we felt that it was critical to set up a subsidiary whose infrastructure was really geared towards satisfying those DoD requirements.
Okay. So I guess that enables you to basically keep the the defense activity and the non-defense activity in separate boxes.
That does. Where it's appropriate, we can cordon off, the defense activities from the commercial business where necessary. One of the big things is security clearance, and so in some cases, these units are used to protect soldiers and citizens. A lot of the data becomes confidential or secret and requires a special handling, and so Daylight Defense is geared from an infrastructure perspective to satisfy those requirements.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, now we are here in the manufacturing area with Greg Blankenship, who is Director of Product Development and of Manufacturing Engineering at Daylight Solutions. Greg, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what we see behind us here and what goes on in this room?
Sure. This is our scientific product line where we have full manufacturing for continuous wave and mode-hop-free lasers. Behind us, actually, we have 2 build and test stations for the mode-hop-free product line.
Okay. And what are they actually doing right now?
Well, right now, Carlo is adjusting the wavelength and the wavelength performance of this particular laser. And John back here on the other station is doing some electronics assembly.
Okay. So this room right now looks fairly empty, I assume, since you've only been in here, what, a couple of months?
Yeah, we moved in on right before July 4th weekend.
Okay.
Right. And our previous building had 7,000 square feet of total space. This building now has 29,000, almost 30,000 square feet of space. And you're right, this room here is, it's actually sized so that it can almost triple in capacity. Our manufacturing growth, we've been continuously building and selling more units, and our 5-year plan actually has this room being fully populated with tables and people building our scientific line.
Okay, so 5 years from now, and then this whole room will be full, and
that's our plan.
Hopefully shipping a lot of product. Okay.
Yes, cool. Yes.
So, maybe we can take a closer look at some of what's going on these benches, and you can describe some of the specifics.
Okay, sure. Well, here again is our mode-hop-free build and test station. This is the laser here, and Carlo is testing it right now. He's measuring the wavelength. This laser has a grating that will scan a pretty wide range of mid-infrared, and he's checking to see if there's any mode hops in this particular laser.
Okay, Greg, you already given us a quick overview of what is going on this bench. Maybe you can take a minute and explain it in a little bit more detail.
Sure. Again, John's building a mode-hop-free laser, and at this point he just finished attaching one of the circuit boards and is now going through the computer process of setting and programming the EEPROM. There's quite a few configurables we actually put on the EEPROM chip, as each laser has a set of custom settings based on the quality or the performance of that individual QC, the circuit performance, the optical performance.
So it's refreshing to visit companies like Daylight Solutions, which are doing great things with photonics, and we look to see more from them and other companies. I'm Steve Anderson with Laser Focus World.